the cars!
Is this really a reference to that? Probably not. I mean, everybody stands on the cars in the opening stage, but I'm gonna think that it is. I like to think that this is a reference to that. And we are finally here. The first zeroth issue of the ongoing Mega Man X comic. Even though X Timeline's #1 is the first one that came out, but this one comes before that canonically. Udon has very interesting naming schemes for their comic series. But yes, we finally have the canonically first issue of the ongoing X comic here. And just like the Legend one, this is the only cover I have. Unfortunately, but hey, it's still cool. It's still cool fighting the giant bee. Everybody remembers the giant bee. But yeah, what is Udon's first comic canonically in Mega Man X like? Similar to Timelines, it begins with X sitting alone in his room in Hunter Base, just thinking to himself.
Unlimited potential and the freedom to grow and learn. You will be so much different from what I have created before. They will fear you, and rightfully so. You are something beyond what they could imagine. Something remarkable that will change the course of history. The question is, did I usher in a new age, or did I just open Pandora's box?
X and the rest of the hunters at the base are called in by navigators Minerva and Luna, who inform them that the ex-Maverick Hunter Commander Sigma has been sending Mavericks down to the central highway of Able City, and that they need to send hunters down there to stop them in their tracks. But not only that, Maverick Hunter, or ex-Maverick Hunter, Vava, not Vile, Vava, has been sighted there as well. They detained him a couple weeks ago, but it seems like he has broken out, and he is leading this charge. And Zero had requested that X go down to the highway and take out the main forces himself. X asks if they've been able to locate where Zero actually is, and they inform him that Zero is already ahead of him, already there, somewhere. And he also checks in regarding Storm Eagle. They say that they asked Storm Eagle for backup, but he had a dead signal. So X goes down to the highway, and he starts fighting off the various mechanoloids, including the Bee-Blader. And as he gets further down into the highway, he's trying to find any sign of Vava, until Vava finds him.
Where are you, Vava? Show yourself! Right here, X. But Vava was my slave name. I am no longer a subservient Maverick Hunter. I am a free Reploid. Call me Vile.
Vile, why have you gone Maverick? What has Sigma done to turn you?
You've got this all twisted, X. I didn't need any convincing. I joined Sigma for the weapons and the war. Now, I'll destroy you, and usher in a new age of pain and suffering. The other hunters were right. You are crazy. The world is crazy. You just haven't caught up yet. Like my new toy? A signing bonus for joining Sigma's global cleansing. I was hoping you would put up more of a... Damn you! Can't move. This ends now, you worthless piece of scrap metal! Vava! Stand down, traitor! Wouldn't you like that?
Vile escapes, but Zero helps X up, X telling Zero that he's sorry. He couldn't beat Vile on his own. And Zero tells him that he hasn't reached his full potential yet. Dr. Kane knows it, Sigma knows it, and he knows it. that X is a lot stronger than he thinks he is. And then X thanks Zero for believing in him, and Zero just tells him, hey, I didn't want to fight all these Mavericks on my own, but thank me by staying alive, because there's always another war to fight. And we then see, before X teleports away, that he is being watched intently by Sigma. So, story-wise, this comic is very simple. It's a lot simpler than the Timelines issues, but that makes sense, right? The Timelines issues were trying, for the most part, to tell self-contained stories, so they had to have a little bit more depth to them. This one is very, very simple. It is basically just the introduction of X reminiscing about his past. Then he gets called in to deal with the Central Highway incident. He goes and tries to deal with it, and just like in the game, he tries to fight Vile, he loses until Zero shows up, Vile escapes, and that's that. But I think the way that this comic does it is so good. There's just so much packed in here despite the simplicity of the story that it's incredible. The way X reminisces on Dr. Light here, I really like this sequence. It's interesting how both this and X Timelines frames X's relationship with Dr. Light. X and Dr. Light, or Dr. Light to X, is like this almost ethereal, godlike figure. He knows that Dr. Light created him. He knows that he has a lot of expectations of him, but he doesn't really know what that is. He doesn't know why he was directly created. He doesn't know what Dr. Light really wants him to do. And he's trying to figure that out, and I really like that. I think that's a really interesting way of framing their relationship. And the fact that memory merges with when Dr. Kane finds him. I'm so excited to see X and Dr. Kane interact. And I know that this comic is going to be different than Archie. They specifically cited several times in interviews that they want the Udon comics to be different than Archie in a lot of ways. And I doubt that the relationship between X and Dr. Kane is going to be similar to what Archie Mega Man showed, at least the brief bits that they showed. But the thing that I really like about Archie, X, and Dr. Kane is that it showed how close they were. Dr. Kane in Archie Mega Man was pretty much like X's uncle, in a way. Like, he was really calm, really down to earth, and he talked to X like X was his own kid. It was really endearing, and I think if this comic has a similar relationship to that, where Dr. Light is like this grand figure, and Dr. Kane is a much more down-to-earth figure that X can relate with more, that would be cool to see, but only time will tell. Then we get to the scene with Minerva and Luna, which I just gotta say, thank you, Udon team, for finally giving them names. I have been trying to figure out names for these two, specifically her, because Minerva, at least in Maverick Hunter X, is like the main navigator, because like, I mean, Luna's there, she's there in like the Day of Sigma, but she doesn't really like do anything. But Minerva, she shows up both in the Day of Sigma as well as in the game itself, but she never got a name. Even in the Maverick Hunter Field Guide, she wasn't even in it. She didn't get a name, and that always bugged me. You can see in my what if the Maverick virus created zombies, where I decided to give her the work in progress name of Opera, of short for operator, and also it's a music reference, because we know Mega Man loves those. You know, because I wanted to give her a name, I wanted to give her something. So I'm really glad that this comic finally gave her, and Luna, names. The fact that Luna is also a character now. is just really nice. It's really cool. And I like their sort of differences, at least the brief bits that are shown here, where Minerva is a lot more matter-of-fact. She seems to be much more on the dutiful side of things. She just says it like it is. She tries to get everyone on track. And Luna is a lot more emotional. And we'll get to this on the art side, because one thing that I think this book does really well is the writing and the art mesh so well together. Like, Luna, when she mentions Storm Eagle's signal being dead, she knows that something is wrong, and she looks worried about it. Minerva doesn't seem like she would allow emotions to come into her work, but Luna does get a little emotional, and I like that. I think that's a good way of differentiating them. And then, you know, the segment of X on the highway. I mean, there's really not much to talk about there. He's fighting mechanoloids. He's basically saying how it sucks that I have to fight our own mechanoloids. Like, I don't want to do that, but I have to. Fights the Beeve later. You know, there's not much to see there, but that's fine. It's just meant to be an action-packed scene that recreates the opening stage of the game, and I think it does that well. And then, of course, we get to Vava. Now, I do like that they're doing the thing that Archie did, where they're basically making both the Japanese name and the American names both canon. For those who are unfamiliar with Archie, you know, Rock being Mega Man, I mean, that's kind of stuck in English, though, you know, there's been games like Powered Up where they call him Mega, which is really stupid. He should always be Rock. But Archie also made it so that Proto Man's name, before he actually got, like, upgraded into Breakman and then becoming Proto Man, was Blues, which is his Japanese name. That was just his name. And then when Dr. Wily upgraded him, he became Breakman, and then later he donned the name Proto Man. And I thought that was really cool, and I like how Vava is Vile's real name, but he didn't like it after talking with Sigma, so he chose the name Vile. And I think that's cool. I think that's a really cool way of implementing that. Unfortunately, I don't like what they've done with Vile here. Vile is a very interesting character. He's honestly one of my favorites, right? There's a lot of nuance to it in the various depictions of it. You have the Yoshihiro Iwamoto Rockman X manga version of Vile, who is a lot more philosophical. He has that famous scene which inspired his figure arts figure to have that glass of bourbon where he's drinking it at a bar, and he says how to a Reploid it doesn't matter whether they're drinking something like bourbon or mud because it tastes the same, and he's dissatisfied. That's why he's so gung-ho about violence and wanting to prove that he is better than all the other legendary fighters out in the world, because that's what gets some form of emotion out of him. Everything else is just drab, bland. Reploids live like humans, but they can't enjoy things like humans. That's his whole philosophy, and I thought that was a really cool version of his character. And then, of course, you have Maverick Hunter X. Maverick Hunter X Vile is also trying to prove himself, but the difference is that he's trying to go after X specifically because X is what he views as weak. He keeps hearing how X is a great hunter, how X is how Reploid should be, but yet X is only a B-class hunter. Vile was an SA class. He was the top dog. He got all the missions completed, and yet he gets arrested? Yet X is the one that everybody says, oh, he's the great one that we should all be looking out for. How is that the case? He wants to take X down because he wants to prove that he is better. If anyone is going to change the world, it's going to be him.
Sorry to burst your bubble, but I'm the one that's gonna change the world.
And both of those vials, you learn about who they are just about right away. I mean, okay, with Maverick Hunter X vial, you kind of had to start his campaign to really get all the stuff about him, but still, you knew who these characters were fairly soon, right off the bat. This version of Vile, he's just insane. Like, at first, he says the reason why he changed his name from Vava to Vile is because that was his slave name. So, okay, does he think that humans are enslaving Reploids and that's why he's acting out like this? I mean, okay, that's fine. You could go somewhere with that. But then he says that he's just trying to, like, kill all the humans because Reploids are superior. So, okay, so is it he thinks that humans are, like, trying to enslave Reploids and they think that they're beneath them? Does he think that Reploids are just inherently superior than humans and that's why he's trying to do it? But then he also says he's just doing it for fun. Like, I don't know what his deal is. He's just insane. Even X says, wow, you're just insane. And that's just lame, man. I mean, yes, he's going to show up again later. So maybe there is more to it. Maybe more will be revealed, but at least right now, he just seems like he's crazy for the sake of being crazy, and he's saying every insane thing he could just because he's crazy, and it's just lame. I did also want to point out, I do like how they specifically point out that the ship that Vile was transported on and all the mechanoids were transported on and that he escapes on is Storm Eagles. And yes, that was the case in all the other versions of Mega Man X, but I don't think it was ever specifically stated that that was Storm Eagle's ship, so I just like that little detail. I think that was neat. The details in this book are really good, and they do really enhance the story. As much as I just got on this book for how they portrayed Vile, I do really like its additions to the story, and I do think the story overall is pretty good outside of that. And now, we get to the art. Now, I said in X Timelines that I thought that the art there was good, that it was great. It really was. It was the exact art that I wanted to see in a Mega Man X book. But it didn't do anything that really wowed me. Like, I saw it, I saw how it looked, I'm like, yeah, that looks really good. But that was it, right? It didn't really leave too much of a lasting impression. Now this is what I am talking about. Just look at these colors. Look at these gradients. Like, this neon light aesthetic that is permeated throughout the entire book, even in scenes like this. It just helps give it this vibe of this futuristic era where everything is shiny and bright. It looks gorgeous. And all the visual details here. I mean, we got Mac here, Green Biker Dude. I mean, everyone knows Green Biker Dude, but Mac, who remembers Mac? And then referencing the moment where X and Zero meet again from X6, like, it's so good. Even the color gradient on, like, the warning message to show that it's still, like, X seeing that in his head. Like, this book is beautiful. This book is gorgeous. I mean, I don't think there's really much else to say. It's just amazing. This is exactly what I was talking about when I was talking about X Timelines. So, final thoughts. Yeah, I think this is better than X Timelines number 1 by a mile. Like, X Timelines 1 was not bad. It was not bad at all. I just kind of think that this book does everything that one was trying to do, but better, because that also had a scene of X reminiscing on his past and what he was made for. This one, I think, did it better. Had X going through the level of the game. I think this one did it better. It had X communicating with the boss. Well, I don't really like how they're portraying Vile's character in here. I do think that X's interactions with Vile were more impactful than his interactions with Chill Penguin. Granted, I mean, that's kind of supposed to be the case, because, you know, Vile's going to show up later, while Chill Penguin will not. But even then, I thought it was better. And I liked Zero's involvement in this book. I just think this did everything that X Timelines 1 tried to do, but just better. And again, X Timelines issue 1 was great. I still gave it a very high score. I just think this does it better in every aspect. Well, I'm very iffy on how they're portraying Vile so far. I do genuinely love this book, and I do think that it sets a very high standard for the rest of this comic going forward. I'm really excited to see what they do with it, where they go. And if you haven't picked it up yet, what are you waiting for? Do that. Go. Get it. It's good. Do it now. But until issue 1 comes out of this, not X Timelines 1, again, Udon. Udon's very weird with how they decide to name things, but until then, this is Penguin CJP, signing out.